I join theists versus atheists debate groups on Facebook, follow posts, and read comments to keep me updated sa mga arguments from both sides. It's my way of gauging people para at least man lang na ako'y idea kung asa ko lugar kung maghimo kog content for my videos. I don't mind kung poor, outdated, or irrational ang argument. As long as I find it interesting and gives me the opportunity to teach, then I'd go for it. Sometimes I get to see arguments nga makastop and think ko. Not because it's true, but because dili siya obviously false. Mauning mga klase nga argument nga kung di nimo tagaan og more time to really think about, makumbinsi jud ka. And here's one of those arguments. Arguing with atheists about God is like trying to convince a colorblind person of the existence of color. I'm sure most of you have already heard this. What if naalang giday kulang aning mga atheists mao nang dili na noon sila kakita sa reality with a particular God in it? This made me reflect about my usual impressions sa mga theistic arguments I see on debate groups online. Ang rason kaha nganong I find most of their arguments underwhelming, irrational, ug baseless is because naalay kulang sa ako as a person, like how a colorblind person lacks the ability to see all the colors. Let's find out. First, let's talk about what color blindness is. Ang atong mata contains nerve cells called cones that enable the retina, kining light-sensitive nga part sa atong mata, to see colors. Ang retina na itulo ka klase nga cones for color detection. Ang S cone is responsible for blues, ang M cone kay greens, ug ang L cone reds. Useless ning mga cone in identifying colors by itself. They have to work together or refer each other para ma-determine sa brain ang actual nga color. This is how normal color vision works. Ang mga colorblind nga mga tao are not blind sa color. Color blindness is a color vision deficiency. People with mild cases can live for years without realizing that they are colorblind. Kasagari sa ila, may baon na lang through activities where they will be told off for coloring the sky purple or the grass orange. The most common type of color blindness is katong naidiferensya sa cone responsible for shades of red. Another type is when an entire type of cone is missing. Sa una, abin ako ang dogs can only see black and white pero dili di ay. Dogs can see colors but can only see shades of yellow and blue. Maura pud sa tao, but either shades sa red, blue, or green lang ang deficient sa ila. Ang extremely rare type is isa ra nga type of cone ang present sa ila. Since one type of cone can't identify a color without a second one as reference, they see the world in black and white. But colorblind people still make it work, right? They run their life just like everyone else seemingly. Pero, at the end of the day, they are still lacking something. Something nga ang mga tao ra nga makakita sa mga colors ang maka-appreciate. Now, although colorblind people cannot see the colors, we know these colors certainly do exist. The colorblind argument claims nga the exact same thing happens when people don't believe in a God. The analogy is to point out nga naay missing sa mga atheists, nga mao kuno'y babag nga nung di nila makita ang God. That it's true that atheists can still live and laugh and love in the same world as everyone else. That it's true nga atheists can build relationships, learn new skills, learn new instruments, master occupations, and can even enjoy simple things like food. But without a real reason why, an atheist's quality of life will never be as complete as the theists. We atheists are truly missing something daw. But kung magpa-check up lang daw ta, we'll know nga we are lacking what it takes to understand life for what it really is. A life where God exists, just like the colors. Now, if literal nga colorblind ko and haven't experienced color, it's actually not that very hard for you to convince me nga other people do experience color and that colors exist. Here's how to do it. First, magkuha kag 5 ka-identical objects. and paint each of the identical object a different color: red, blue, green, yellow, and brown. Next, label them according to color with the labels facing me. And finally, invite unbiased people to participate in this experiment. Ipa-identify sa ila ang colors. I can shuffle the objects para sure ko na walay cheating. If participants report each color with overwhelming accuracy, then I'd be convinced nga people were experiencing a consistent o reliable nga phenomenon. So, kung ing-ani raman di ay kadali kumbinsihon ang colorblind person about color, then dali kapod siguro kumbinsihon ang mga atheists about God, no? But we all know nga dili nga na kadali. When you're an atheist, people will then say, wala man jud ka nag-try hard enough, mao nang di gihapon nimo makita ang God, which is something you wouldn't obviously say to a colorblind person. While tinuod nga na ay kapadulngan ang effort alone won't help us kung ang goal kay holding your breath for 1 hour or for a colorblind person to see all the colors. It isn't that the goal to see God is impossible. Wala lang gi-demonstrate that it is achievable as it is with proving colors. The evidence of color perception is everywhere. We use it to handle traffic, to decide which Ethernet cable goes through an RJ45 para maka-establish the LAN connection, to identify poisonous species, to distinguish sports teams, and so on. But no such practicality has been demonstrated regarding gods. In fact, this so-called argument in defense of God is nothing more than an evasion and deflection. The colorblind argument is a red herring. Ang problema diri is dili ang akong kuno inability to see color, but ang imong inability to demonstrate the existence of color. It is an evasion sa fact na you are just unable to differentiate your God from the other gods. All of you claim that you have the truth, and everyone else had got it wrong. And you expect me to be convinced of your God? Ako ba gid ang colorblind sa atong duha, or are you just imagining things?